Hey friends, thanks so much for joining me again for another tutorial. This one's a little bit different than what I usually do. It's just a letter mold. I got this from Michael's and it's just my boyfriend's initials, Nate, and so I made him this for his little home office for some decorations. This was inspired by another YouTuber who does letters and I absolutely loved him, so I wanted to try my hand. My boyfriend went to Iowa State, and so he really wanted to have his team colors on his letter, which is just like red and yellow essentially. And I wanted to do just like a color scheme of like red, gold, and white to kind of mimic those colors for him. And so that's what I'm doing here. This project does not take a lot of resin at all, to be quite honest. Probably 2 to 3 ounces of resin will do it for you, just because it's not a very in-depth project. And so what I'm doing here is just laying the colors that I want. To make the resin, I use PCB resin. I'll leave a link for that in my bio. As always, this is my favorite resin just because it's like a food safe resin, and it's also just a 1-to-1 ratio, so it takes the complication out of all things resin, as it's already complicated. So you just mix equal parts of part A and B. Like if you're gonna do 2 ounces in total, you'll do 1 ounce of A, 1 ounce of B. Stir that together for 3 to 5 minutes, depending on how much resin you have. Like this project, probably, I think I did about 5 ounces, maybe like 4 to 6 ounces. So I only needed to mix it for like 2 to 3 minutes. Once the resin is mixed together, part A and B, then it's going to be clear. It turns from like a little cloudy to completely clear. That's how you know it's properly mixed. I then separate the clear resin into different little cups that I'm using to pour right now. This project, I use all mica powders, so I'll leave a link for the mica powders that I use as well. I just got them from Amazon. They came in a bundle deal of like 24 for like $10 or $11, so really good deal. They last a really long time. Once you make sure, whenever you're using any kind of additive to resin, you do the 10% rule. It just means that you are using less than 10% of additive to the amount of resin. As you can see, those little cups maybe hold about 2 ounces in total. And so when you want to make sure that if you fill the mold up to 2 ounces, you use less than 10% of a mica powder or alcohol inks or whatever you're adding to your resin. I hope that makes sense. If you guys have any questions about it, definitely drop me a comment and I can explain further. Nonetheless, for this piece, the letter N, I realized that like when I poured it, I wanted it to be a bit white. Like I didn't want it to be full of color, but the white was like taking over the gold. And so I am just going in, making sure that every corner is covered, and then trying to add a little bit more color. Like I'm trying to use as much of the resin that I've poured. I absolutely hate wasting resin, guys. And then I'm also trying to pop out some more of the gold. And so I did that in a couple ways. I kept adding gold to the places where the gold was already. I also used my heat gun towards the end. The heat guns can be really good for popping bubbles. It can also be really good for spreading colors. You just have to be really careful because you don't want to burn your resin. And yes, resin can burn. And when it burns, you know right away, because all of a sudden your project gets really hard and crunchy, crunchy like, and you just don't want that on anything that you're trying to sell, or really anything. So be careful when you're using a heat gun. For heat guns, I'll leave a link to the one that I bought. Just got it from Amazon, I believe, and I'll leave a link to that one. There's smaller ones that you can get. Those are more foolproof, and so it doesn't produce a lot of heat, but it gets the job done. You can also get those from Amazon as well. I have considered getting it as a backup, even though I know I don't need it, but I just like the fact that it doesn't have produce as much heat. And so anyways, guys, so for this is all I did for this project. I just pretty much went in lines across the whole thing with the 3 different colors that I used, just the white, red, and gold. And then I just tried to keep the colors in play, the same place that I had them laid, and then I just used the heat gun to move the colors around a little bit. Thank you guys so much for tuning into my channel. As always, please like, share, subscribe. I really appreciate it when you guys do. You helping me grow my channel and really feeding into my dream as a small business owner. So thank you guys so much. I'll leave everything in the description below. Until next time, guys.